Hey y'all, have y'all ever found yourself in a situation where then at some part of it you thought, oh, now I get this, now I understand this. It's Sunday here, January the 5th. I'm sitting here in my home in East Point, Georgia. And I've kind of been dealing with the Josephus or the crud the last few days. So being Sunday's the Lord's Day, I just think about God and the universe and the spirit of love and holiness and sanctifiedness. And so I want to share with you something that happened to me 7 or 8 years ago that that I felt like out of all of this, God brought me to this place in this moment for this purpose, for this reason. And whether you believe in God or not, or the universal flow of energies or vibrations or beings or ghosts or heavenly angels or humanness, probably as I've got older, I've become more of a humanist. But 7 or 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, I own a little blueprint shop here in Atlanta, and I'll probably have to do a part 2 of this to get all this in. I own a little blueprint shop here in Atlanta, A1 Blueprint Company over in southeast Atlanta, and my throat's kind of weak because I'm dealing with some stuff right now. But I got a phone call from Hewlett Packard. And the lady said, Mr. Sellers said, we'd like to fly you to Barcelona. And all expense paid, round trip, put you up in a hotel. We just need you to come to our facilities right outside Barcelona. And we want to show you a prototype of the latest machine, big print machine. I have one of them now, but that's going to be hitting the market in a couple of years. And we'd like just for you to come and see it and us pick your brain about it. And I thought, this is a bunch of foolishness. Ain't no way in the world nobody's going to fly me to no Barcelona and put me up in a 5-star hotel, actually. And so I told her, I said, ma'am, I ain't got time for this foolishness. No, I'm not coming to Barcelona. I'm not going to be a part of this. And just hung up on her. Just hung up on her. And so anyhow, about a week later, I got an email to A1 Blueprint email, and explaining the same thing. I thought, man, spam is really hot and heavy, isn't it? And didn't respond to it. So about a week went by, and so this gentleman called me and said, Mr. Sellers said, this is so-and-so with Hewlett Packard. We'd like to bring you to Barcelona and have a meeting with us. And I said, you know what, none of this makes any sense. He said, we will pay all the expense, have somebody pick you, have a driver waiting for you at the airport, this, that, and the other. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, I told him, I said, I tell you what do you need from me? I'll find out if this is true or not. I said, what do you need from me for, you can just, he told me the dates and this, that, and the other. He needed stuff for my airplane ticket, my information. I give it to him. Well, a few hours later, I got the Delta information. My tickets were there, my hotel, where to go, my driver. A whole itinerary of what day I would only be in the design and engineering department of Hewlett Packard for a day. So next thing I know, I'm on a plane trip. First time I ever went anywhere by myself. I probably could have negotiated it with them, being they were so eager to take a second with me, but I just figured I'd go by myself. So and it takes a minute to get to the point where I'm thinking, oh, now I know my mission. Now it makes sense to me. Now I understand why I'm on this flight to Barcelona. And so I'm on my flight to Barcelona. First time I've ever been on a trip by myself, especially out of the country, to a city I've never been before. But in an odd way, it was on my bucket list. I'd always heard about the magic of Barcelona. and I'd always wanted to go visit Barcelona. So anyway, we land in Barcelona. It was a long flight, and I have a driver that meets me that's driving this big old 4-door Mercedes sedan. And he picks me up, and he takes me to the hotel. And the hotel was the lobby of the hotel. They had filmed a movie scene, a Woody Allen movie, Vicky Barcelona, I believe was the name of it, was filmed in that hotel, a 5-star hotel. And I had never stayed in a hotel quite that fancy. I'd stayed in Ritz-Carltons and some different stuff, but I had never stayed in a hotel that fancy. And beautiful hotel. And so I go up to my room on the second floor, and in the hallway of the room, there's a man sitting in a chair, and he introduces himself that he'd be my personal concierge. I'm like, what? Y'all are crazy. Y'all a personal, why do I need a personal concierge to help me maneuver I think it was 5 days. So anyhow, we went. They invited me to a dinner that night, and I've traveled, but I've not traveled on the upper end of the upper echelon of travel, where the really highfalutin people do. And so anyhow, I never had sat at a restaurant. It was a white table restaurant, and it was a 7-course dinner. The little courses are small. America just got big old gobs of courses, Cracker Barrel, whatever. But these were little small courses, 7-course dinner. And the lady from Hewlett-Packard who had taken me there, we were sitting there. And I don't know, I guess just being Southern and not having a good understanding of prices, I had mentioned to her, I'm like, my God, this is a fancy meal. I said, a meal like this probably $150 or $200. She told me, she said, Mr. Sellers, that glass of wine you're drinking is $200. I'm like, what? Are y'all crazy? My throat's going. But anyhow, it was that kind of trip. I remember it. I love it. The people of Hewlett-Packard was good to me. And I had already told them, I'm like, I'm broke. I'm not buying no $60,000 machine. I ain't got that kind of money. It was back in 2008, I believe, 2009, when everybody was just going out of business and struggling anyway. They're like, no, it's not a sales pitch. It's not even available to purchase. We just want to pick your brain. And they did. They showed me the machine. I spent 4 or 5 hours out there in a beautiful park, 30 miles outside of Barcelona, Hewlett-Packard Design Center. Couldn't take no cameras, no phones in. Sign an NDA. I couldn't really talk about what I'd seen. And the machine is now the dominant machine among all blueprinters across the world. I have one now. I bought one 3 years ago, the page wide. Does a color or black and white, large format blueprints. So, but anyhow, when I get ready to leave, and this is where I'm going to end this right here and go to part 2, I'm going to tell you on part 2 why I understood my mission as I got on the plane to come back.